Okay, so today let's get started on our mats on our backs. And let's hug the knees in toward the chest. So rest the head on the mat, hug the knees in toward the chest, close the eyes. I'm already rocking side to side. You can do that, but if you feel like holding still feels better, that's fine too. Start to take a deeper breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more like that. This time in and out through the nose. Back out through the nose. Keep going. Ujjayi breath. Blink, open the eyes, hug the right knee in, extend the left leg out in front of you. And if that bothers your lower back, you know you can always bring the sole of the left foot onto the mat. If it feels okay, press out through the left heel, keep those left toes pointing up toward the sky, keep bringing the right knee in. And if grabbing the top of the shin bothers you, you can always grab behind the back of the thigh so you don't put any extra pressure on the knee if it's talking to you. And switch sides. Left knee comes in, right leg extends out, or right foot to the mat. Try to stay level with the hip. So if that outer left hip is going up toward the left shoulder, move it down toward the right heel, but still bring that left knee in. Both knees in toward the chest. Grab onto the backs of the thighs. So we're going to rock up, but that doesn't work for everybody. So if it doesn't work for you, you can roll over to one side and come up. If you're cool with rocking, take a bunch of rocks. So don't worry about how many you're doing. Just try to build some momentum and going up and down the spine here. You're hugging in the core, so that gives your spine some support. And eventually we'll come up to seated. Maybe this next rock, come up to seated. And let's come forward to hands and knees. So a few options. If you have a block, it might be nice. If you don't, it's not a big deal. I'll give you options for without a block, but we're going to play with Virasana today. So hero's pose. Knees together, feet apart. So your feet are wide enough that your hips could fit between them. They don't need to go all the way down. If you're using a block can go on the slowest height, medium height, or it could even be the tallest height. That would go between the ankles. If you're not using a block, try it without a block, and then I'll give you another option. So move the calf muscle out and away so the knees have plenty of space to come back. And then the hips come back between the heels. Tops of the feet are on the mat. You're hugging those outer ankles in, and then you come up with the chest. So you're seated. So the hips need to touch something. So if you don't have something underneath you, it could be a blanket, pillow, block, and the hips are lifted away from the mat and they're not rooted, then what you do is bring the feet all the way together and you sit back onto the heels. See how that feels. And if that doesn't work, another option is tucking the toes and sitting back onto the heels. And if none of those work, then you just come to seated on the mat and you stay there, and that's fine. So some version of hips down on something, seated up tall, hands resting on the thighs, chest is open for everyone. Head is right over the hips. Bring the chin down toward the chest and feel that length in the back of the neck, but try not to collapse the chest. Still lifted and proud. Then bring the left ear toward the left shoulder and feel that stretch in the right side of the neck. Chin comes back down toward the chest, and right ear comes over to the right shoulder. And you'll do that a couple more times, this half moon shape. going slow. If you find a place where it would be nice to just stay there and breathe, you're welcome to do that too. And what you'll start to notice as you're listening to the messages in your body, specifically the neck, maybe anywhere else, is things start to slow down. They start to calm down, especially as we do this work with the neck. It's a really calming way to find your center. And you can do this anytime you have the spine upright. So standing, seated, whatever it is. Next time right ear comes over to the right shoulder, stay there. See if you can keep the chest opening up, shoulders away from the ears. And maybe you take the right hand and lightly rest it on top of the head, hardly any weight. The neck is so strong, holding our head up all day. But this is a pretty deep stretch already on its own without the hand. So you can always skip it. Breathe into it wherever you are. And set the right hand down. If you brought it to the head, chin comes back down toward the chest. Left ear comes over to the left shoulder. Right shoulder moves away from you. Maybe the left hand comes up and light as you can, rest on top of the head. Left hand comes back down to the thighs. Chin comes back down toward the chest. Lift the head so you're looking straight forward. And then we'll come forward onto hands and knees so that we can remove the block or whatever we have underneath us if we do away. And then bring the knees and the feet all the way together. Sit back onto the heels. So we're getting into the feet and the ankles here. This might be enough, but we'll play with an ankle stretch. So you'll bring the hands down onto the mat. So not quite out in front of you, but maybe more by the knees. And you're hugging those outer ankles in, inner edges of the feet are together, knees, thighs are together. Maybe you start to lift the knees away from the mat. So feet stay on the mat and you lift the knees up toward the chest, and that gets into the top of the foot. The ankles will all be in a different spot with this. And if you've never done it before, it can be a little unnerving because it feels like, whoa, am I supposed to be putting my body this way? So just experiment, go to wherever your edge is, and then you'll set the knees back down onto the mat. And let's get the feet going in the other direction. So bring the hands forward so that you can tuck the toes underneath you. Sit back onto the heels. Make sure that fourth and fifth toe is pointing straight forward. And then sitting right up onto the heels, lifting the chest, if that's okay. If it's too much work on the feet, you can always bring the hands down to the mat. Reach that right arm up, bend at the elbow, grab for the right elbow, and you're just working those right fingertips down the center of the back. Keeping the gaze forward, so it wants to go down, and that'll bring the chest down. So if you keep the gaze forward, it'll help keep the chest spacious and keep that right arm back behind the head. Then reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Left arm bends, grab for the left elbow, work those left fingertips down the back. Try not to puff out those lowest front ribs. Hug those in a little bit. That way we don't arch the spine too much. Then reach the arms all the way back up. Hands come back down to the mat. You can tap the tops of the feet to the mat after that toe squat. And then hands right underneath the shoulders. So shoulder width distance apart. Separate the knees, hip width distance apart. On the inhale, reach the heart forward. On the exhale, round the whole spine. Keep going on your own. Inhaling forward, exhaling back for cat-cow. Getting a little bit more movement. Although same thing as the neck rolls. If you want to stay in one spot and breathe, that's always welcome. So much of this practice is listening to what your body's telling you. And hopefully, as you do that, when you're practicing yoga, it starts happening throughout your day. Last round, forward and back. Back to a neutral spine. So now walk the hands ahead of the shoulders, spread the fingers evenly, not as wide as you can go, but maybe like 80%. Tuck the toes underneath you, lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So first one, you know, you can separate the feet wider than hip width distance and make it more mat width distance. You can also put a deep bend in the knees, pedal out the feet. But giving yourself some time to adjust to this first one. It's such a big pose. It's really good for us. Why we always do it. Lift the right leg up and back. So make sure the feet are at least hip width distance apart. So if you widen them, lift the right leg up and back. Keeping some energy in that right foot. And try not to open up the hip here. So all 5 toes on that right foot point down. Step that right foot through up between the hands. So you're coming into a runner's lunge. Hands can be on blocks or fingertips. Stretch that left leg back behind you and reach the chest forward. And you can move around a little bit if that feels good with the legs. Try to keep the right knee over the right ankle and not go ahead of it. You can go behind it. But drawing some circles with that left heel sometimes feels pretty good. And then come to stillness. From here, step that left foot forward. It's a big step, so take your time with it. Left foot steps forward to meet the right foot. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the palms together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Take your time. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step the left foot back. Straighten the front leg. Fold over the front leg. So modify pyramid pose. Inhale forward to your lunge, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. All 5 toes on that left foot point down. So it's like you're spinning that inner left thigh up toward the sky. Step that left foot through all the way up to the top of the mat. Find your runner's lunge. Coming up a little higher on fingertips or blocks is always really nice, especially for the first lunge, to give yourself a little bit more space. And then if you want some movement, you can find some movement with that right heel. And coming to stillness, look down at the mat, big step forward, right foot steps up to meet the left foot. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the palms together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, hands to the mat. Right foot steps back like a runner's lunge, and then straighten the front leg. Hands can walk back too if the back side of that left leg is pretty tight. If you want more, hands go forward. So that's your lever to find the right spot for where you need to be. Let the head and the neck go. Inhale forward to a lunge, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, take a couple of breaths. See if you can get the heels reaching down toward the mat. They don't have to touch, but if they do, that's fine too. Lifting the hips, hugging those lowest front ribs in. Squeezing the arms together as you press down into the index finger or thumb side of the hand. All 10 fingertips gripping the mat. Then inhale forward to plank pose. Lower all the way down to the mat slowly. So you're lying down onto your stomach, tops of the feet to the mat. Reach the arms back behind you, lift and spread the chest. So belly hugs in a little bit, tops of the feet are on the mat. You're squeezing the hands together to keep the arms working. Then exhale, release, hands come back down to the mat, come up to hands and knees, child's pose. Big toes together, sit the hips back. Arms out in front of you for this one, if it's okay in the body. Start to crawl the fingertips forward as far as you can and pull those hips back toward the heels if the knees are okay with it. If the knees aren't, lift the hips up until they start to quiet down. Then shift forward to hands and knees, come to tabletop. So walk the hands back so they're underneath the shoulders, and then stretch that left leg back behind you. Keep reaching the chest forward. So same thing here. Those 5 toes on the left foot are pointing down, the inner left thigh is working. Reach the right arm forward. So get as long as you can. Take an inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Little different this time. Inhale, extend. This time, right elbow out to the right, left knee out to the left. So you bring the heart forward, hug the belly in, and then come back to center. Stretch that right arm and left leg back. We're doing that 2 more times. Bring the left knee to left hip height. Right arm out to the right, come back to center. One last time. Inhale, extend. Set that right hand down, set the left knee down, and we'll switch sides. Right leg goes back. Make sure those toes are pointing down and not out to the right. Left arm reaches forward, get long on your inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Scoop the belly around the spine. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Here's where we change it up. Inhale, extend. Left knee or right knee, left elbow out to the side. Reach the heart forward, reach the chest forward, and then inhale, get long. Exhale, cactus the arm and the leg. Inhale for length. Last one. Exhale, bring it all out to the side, hug the core in, and come back to center. Set the left hand down and the right knee down. Walk the hands ahead of the shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Getting a little bit more length in the legs. Keep lifting the hips up and back and pushing the mat away from you. Right leg lifts up and back. Knee to nose. So scoop the belly around the spine, really similar to what we were doing when we were on hands and knees. Step that right foot through up to the top of the mat. So feet hip width distance apart, back in your runner's lunge. This time we're coming up to crescent pose. Dig down to the feet and the legs, reach the arms all the way up. Warrior 2, spin that left heel down flat. You can heel toe the right foot in a little bit. Flip the front palm up, reverse triangle. So straighten the front leg, reach that right arm up and back. Send that right knee straight forward, reverse warrior. So you're still reaching up and back, you just have that lunge in the front leg this time. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. You'll need to move the right foot over to the right a little bit. So you're back to hip width distance. Big step forward, feet at the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, chair pose on your inhale. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Press all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Hands come to the mat. Step that right foot back, runner's lunge. Set the right knee down to the mat. Untuck the toes. Take a half split. So walk the hands back, shift the hips back, lift up those left toes. You can push the left heel forward and then reach the chest forward, like you're trying to stretch it over the left toes and the top of the mat. Then sole of the left foot comes back down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, back in that runner's lunge. This time, spin the right heel down flat, left forearm, left thigh, reach the right arm up and over. So extended side angle. Hands come down to the mat. You come onto the ball of the back foot, step back, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot through, hug the knee in toward the nose. You lift that foot and shin up as high as you can on the way to stepping the left foot forward. Feet hip width distance apart. We're coming up for crescent pose. Dig down into the feet and the legs. Reach the arms forward and up, rising up. Warrior two, right heel down flat. Try to keep that left knee right over the left ankle, root down through the outer edge of the back foot. Then flip that front palm up, straighten the front leg, reach up and back. So peel that left hip away from the left thigh. So you're in reverse triangle, come to reverse warrior. Send that left knee straight forward, still reaching away from the left thigh, but keep some space in the right side of the body. Sometimes we get so much space in the left side, we take away space from the right side. Windmill the hands down to the mat as you come onto the ball of the back foot. Make sure the feet are hip width distance apart. Left foot might need to wiggle over a little bit to the left. Step that right foot forward, forward fold, straighten the legs. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees, chair pose on the inhale. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, left foot steps back. Spin that left heel down flat like warrior two, but we're coming to side angle. Right forearm, right thigh, reach the left arm up and over. So you're trying to open up the chest as you hug the belly in. So chest is going up toward the sky, right knee is going more toward the pinky toe side of the foot, and that gets the hip, the right hip right behind the knee. And then you just lengthen the legs, taking a big long stride. Windmill the hands down to the mat, coming onto the ball of the back foot, step back, downward facing dog. Glide forward to plank pose. Lower all the way down to the mat slowly. See if you can set yourself down all at the same time. Tops of the feet to the mat, reach the arms back behind you, lift and spread the chest. Then release, bring the hands down underneath you, come up to tabletop, hands and knees. So walk the hands back so they're underneath the shoulders. Then stretch that left leg back behind you. Make sure you're pressing out through the left heel so that that whole leg is working. Right arm reaches forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. We're bringing it out to the side. Look forward, reach the chest forward on the exhale. Inhale for length. Exhale, out to the side, cactus. Inhale for length. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale for length. Right hand comes down, left knee comes down. Find your center and we'll start to move it over to the other side. Right leg reaches back, press out through that right heel so the whole leg's working. Left arm reaches forward, inhale. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. This time, inhale, extend, exhale, out to the side, hug the belly and reach the heart forward. Inhale, extend, exhale, out to the side. Inhale, extend. Last one, exhale, out to the side. Inhale, extend, left hand down, right knee down. Walk the hands forward, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up and back. Knee to nose. Bring that knee in, hug the shin up as high as you can and lift that foot. Then step the right foot forward, feet hip width distance apart. Rise up, crescent pose. Open it up, warrior two. Flip the front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Send that right knee straight forward, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat, coming onto the ball of the back foot. Widen your stance so you have plenty of space to step that left foot forward. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're coming to chair pose, but this time let's bring the feet all the way together. I know we don't typically practice like that, but big toes together. Bring the heels together. Keep those big toes together and put a slight gap in the heels just so they're not touching. So tiny, tiny gap. And then bend the knees. Put the weight into the heels of the feet, reach the arms forward and up. So your knees are touching. Whenever the toes are touching, knees are touching. Hug the belly in, press all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. So here, squeeze the ankles together, squeeze the legs together. So it's like you have one leg, not two. Squeeze those outer hips in. And then you're just this one strong column. Start to shift the weight forward into the balls of the feet and lift the heels up high. So those outer ankles need to hug in at the same time, and that'll give you that lift. And then finding something to look at that's eye level, not down or up, will also help. And it's like you're sliding down the back of a wall. You'll start to bend the knees, keep the heels up high, keep squeezing the legs together. We're eventually coming down into a toe tuck. Take your time with it. Go as low as you're comfortable with. You can always use the hands. Eventually, those thighs go forward and the hips are right over the heels. And we're back in this toe tuck that we played with earlier. Hands come down to the mat, straighten the legs, back in a forward fold. Heel toe the feet back to hip width distance. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, right foot steps back, spin that right heel down flat. Extended side angle pose. So you could do left forearm, left thigh, and reach the right arm over. If you feel like your hips are open enough, you could take it deeper and bring the hand inside or outside the foot. On a block is fine too, or fingertips. Hug the belly in, open up across the chest. Make sure you're using both legs, so not just the left leg. Hands come down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog. So you're going straight there. Left leg reaches up and back. Step that left foot through, up between the hands, feet hip width distance apart. Rise up, crescent pose. Open it up, warrior two. Flip the front palm up, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Reverse warrior. Lengthen that left thigh away from you. Keep peeling the left hip away from the left thigh. Windmill the hands down to the mat, coming onto the ball of the back foot. Right foot steps up to meet the left foot. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. So feet all the way together, slight gap in the heels, bend the knees, weight in the heels, reach the arms up. Utkatasana, traditional chair pose, knees together. Press up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Find your focal point eye level. Start to shift the weight forward to the balls of the feet, those outer ankles in, squeeze the legs together to lift the heels up high. Keep everything squeezing in toward the midline. Keep that focal point. Start to bend the knees straight forward, squeezing the thighs together, hugging the core in as you slowly come down like an elevator into your toe squat. So no rush, playing with this, sending the knees forward, the thighs forward, heels underneath you. Hands come down to the mat, straighten the legs, heel toe the feet to hip width distance and fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, left foot steps back. Spin that left heel down flat. Extended side angle, forearm to thigh, reaching the left arm up and over, or hand in or outside the foot on a block. You see what's working today. Hug the belly in, revolve the chest open. Get some weight in that back leg. Hands down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, glide forward to plank pose. Lower all the way down to the mat slowly. Tops of the feet to the mat, reach the arms back behind you, lift and spread the chest. Exhale, let that go. Hands come down to the mat, come up to hands and knees. Tabletops, you need to walk the hands back. Left leg reaches back, reach the right arm forward. Inhale to extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. See if you can get that shin up higher. Exhale, curl. So bring the foot up, the knee up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. We're bringing it out to the side this time. Inhale, extend. Exhale, cactus the arm and the leg. Reach the heart forward. Inhale, extend. 2 more of those if you want them. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Last one. Exhale, awkward airplane. Inhale, extend. Right hand comes down, left knee comes down. Right leg reaches back, left arm reaches forward. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Get that foot up from the exhale. Bring it all in. Inhale, extend, cactus. Bring the arm and the leg out to the side. Reach the heart forward. Inhale, extend. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale for length. Exhale out to the side. Inhale for length. Left hand comes down, right knee comes down. Walk those hands forward, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Knee to nose, get it up high. That core's warm. Step the right foot through, feet hip width distance. When you're ready, crescent pose. Dig down into the legs and then feel how the core is so supportive. Once you do that core work, you can feel it in all of these poses. Open it up, warrior two. Flip the front palm up, straighten the front leg, tip it back, reverse triangle. Send that right knee straight forward, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat, feet hip width distance apart. Step that left foot through up to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Feet together, slight gap in the heels. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Make sure you can see all 10 toes and the knees aren't shifting way forward. You can lift the chest higher. Come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. So if you're all the way at the top of the mat, walk back so that you have like a third of the mat ahead of you. Same feet, big toes together, slight gap in the heels. Find your focal point. Start to squeeze the outer ankles together. The entire legs are both of them are just squeezing together. Those outer hips squeeze in, belly lifts up, chest lifts up. Lift the heels up as high as you can. Feel that strength in the one leg coming together. Start to bend the knees. Come back into that toe squat. Take your time with it. This time, open up the knees, bring the hands down in front of you. So toes can turn out, heels are together. You can start to walk the hands forward and come into a really nice hip opening like this and stay like this. There's a rounding of the back, scooping of the belly. Or you can play with Bakasana, crow pose. So keep the chest low, walk the hands back as far as you can. The legs will stop you. And then you want to shift those knees as high up as you can. Turn the hands out a little bit so the shoulders have plenty of space. Looking forward is key the whole time. Shift the weight forward into the hands. Those arms are like chaturanga. Chest is open. Maybe you lift one foot or both. There's still a rounding of the spine and you're lifting the hips from the pelvic floor. So lift the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha. Looking forward, set the feet back down, straighten the legs, back to your forward fold. You can cruise back up to the top of the mat if you're way back. Let the head and the neck go. Inhale up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. This time, right foot steps back. Spin that right heel down flat, extended side angle, forearm to thigh or hand in or outside the foot. Keep that left hip right behind the knee. Right hand comes down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Knee to nose. Scoop the belly, lift the foot, step that left foot all the way through. Feet hip width distance apart. Crescent pose when you're ready. Open it up, warrior two. Flip the front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back. Send the left knee straight forward. Keep reaching away from it. Lengthening that left thigh as much as you can. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Widen the stance a little bit. Step that right foot through to the top of the mat. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bring the feet all the way together. Slight gap in the heels. Bend the knees. Chair pose. Weight in the heels. Press up to standing. Hands come together down in front of the heart. So you know where we're going. You might want to back up so that the hands and body stay on the mat. Totally up to you. You play with the surface that you have underneath you. Feet are still in the same position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. Squeeze the outer ankles, outer legs in, inner thighs squeeze together. Lift the lower belly, chest is open, shoulders down the back. Start to lift the heels up. So you build the strength here before you start moving. Once you feel pretty strong, bend the knees, slowly bringing the hips down. And it's like your back is staying up against the wall. So it's not leaning forward, it's not leaning back. You're lengthening the thighs in front of you. So you come into that toe squat. Then we open up the knees wide, bring the hands down. You can turn the toes out a little bit more if you want to. I like to get my chest low and walk the hands forward. It feels good and it also helps me set up a better foundation for my crow pose, because the chest needs to be so low so that you can get those knees higher than the underarms. And then keeping the chest low, walk the hands back as far as you can. Then you lift the hips to get the knees up a little bit higher. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. Look forward the entire time. That's what helps you shift everything forward. So you shift the weight forward into the hands as much as you can. Get chaturanga arms, hug the belly in, chest is nice and open, and then lift the feet. So everything's squeezing together. Lift the hips from the pelvic floor, scooping the belly, rounding the spine, still looking forward. Lift the feet up a little higher, and then set the feet down, straighten the legs. Maybe you walk forward for your forward fold toward the top of the mat, head and neck release. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, left foot steps back, spin that left heel down flat, extended side angle, left arm reaches up and over. Left hand comes down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. To close, one vinyasa. I think this whole class this will be the only one. So if you want to take it, otherwise stay in downward facing dog. Vinyasa of your choice. So inhale, glide forward to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale up, maybe up dog. Those are looking good. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Great work. Bring the knees down to the mat. Take a child's pose. Big toes together, sit those hips back. Maybe the arms go back behind you. Bring the hands to the mat, lifting the chest. Bring the feet over to one side, extend the legs out in front of you. And we'll play with bridge pose. It's a good day for it. So scoot the hips forward so you're more in the center of the mat. Lie down onto your back, walk the feet in, press down into the feet, lift the hips up. Maybe you interlace the fingers underneath you or grab the outer edges of the mat. That's always a nice arm variation too. You can still get that same height and lift of the chest, and it's not asking too much of the shoulders. Tailbone points up between the knees, lift the hips up a little bit higher. And slowly release, hips come back down to the mat. So we didn't do a whole lot of back bending today. This should probably feel pretty nice. When you're ready, dig down into the feet, lift the hips up, interlace the fingers or grab the outer edges of the mat, lift and spread the chest. Looking up is really where you want to keep the gaze so that the chin comes away from the chest. You want your throat to be open. Next, exhale, bring it all back down. And you try to rest as much as you can for a breath or two, just letting the back bend work through you. And then we'll do the third and final one. Back bend of your choice. Stick with bridge if you want to. If you feel like you really want to take it all the way up, you can. And slowly release. Hips come back down to the mat. Take your time getting there. And then we'll bring the knees over to the left. Hips will scoot over to the right. Right arm reaches to the right, and you come into an easy spinal twist. And take your time getting into it. So you don't want to go as deep as you can when you start. This twist release the back bend. So we want to spend time in the transition, knowing that our body will take us the rest of the way if we stay in it long enough. You'll start to switch sides, make your way onto your back. Hips come over to the left, knees to the right. Reach that left arm back behind you for your spinal twist. Left arm comes all the way over on top of the right arm. So you're lying on your right side. Use the hands to bring yourself up to seated, facing forward. And we'll come into Badakanasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. If you have a block, you can bring the hips up on a block. If you have any knee trauma, you can put blocks underneath the knees, or if the hips are really tight, all those options are good ones. So sitting up tall, grab the inner edges of the feet. Make sure you're centered on the sit bones. The closer the feet are into the body, the more intense this is. So if it's too much, just bring the feet out. Sitting up as tall as you can, hanging onto the feet. Notice how long the spine is, particularly the upper back. See if you can keep it long without any rounding as you start to reach forward, leading with the heart. And then maybe if you come down far enough, the elbows will want to bend. They can flare out and they can even rest on the legs as you reach the chest forward. And then one quick note about the hips. If you feel like the hips are pointing back toward the back of the mat, you need to get them under you, almost like they're going forward. You can close the eyes, let the head and the neck go. Feeling the length of the inner thighs, groin area without any strain. That's happening. Feet need to go out a little further in front of you. And you'll slowly start to come back up. So keeping the shape of the legs, right leg's going to stay pretty much where it is. Left leg's just going to go out to the side. You're still facing forward. It's half of what we just did. And you can bring that foot in if it feels like it's too far forward, but facing forward, reach the arms all the way up. Keeping the shape of the legs, just fold forward. So bring the hands down in front of you and start to fold forward. Reaching the chest forward, close the eyes, let the head and the neck go. And walk the hands back in, bringing yourself back up to seated. To transition, just grab onto the back of the left thigh to bend the leg. You'll bring that left foot in. Use the right hand to extend the right leg. Decide where you want that left foot. Chest and everything still facing forward. Reach the arms all the way up and you'll fold forward. Hands come down in front of you. Close the eyes. Walk the hands back in, lifting the chest. And you'll just use the hands behind the legs to bring the legs forward, extended straight. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Fold forward, Paschimottanasana. Start to make your way back up to seated. Come down onto your back. Let's take happy baby to close before Shavasana. So you can bring the knees in toward the chest, open them out wide. So many options. You can grab the backs of the thighs, backs of the calves, ankles, inner edges of the feet, or outer edges of the feet. Keep those hips going down toward the mat so you get the hip opening. Hang on to whatever you have and just pull back with the hands. Head should be rested on the mat and chest should be open. If you want to rock side to side, that's fine. Or hold still, whichever one feels better. Then bring the knees in toward the chest. Close the eyes. Maybe curl up the nose toward the knees. Take a big inhale in through the nose. Exhale, Shavasana. Extend the legs out in front of you, lying down onto the mat, letting everything go. Any effort, anywhere where you might be holding yourself, see if you can find that release. And if you'd prefer to come up and take a seated meditation, that's an option too. You're just coming into stillness, stepping away from that doing feeling and coming into that feeling, just feeling, no doing. you're in Shavasana, you'll start to find some movement in the hands and the feet. Stretch the arms overhead, waking up the body again. Start to walk the feet in, bending the legs. Rolling over onto your right side, cradle the head on the arm, keep the eyes closed. Take a deeper breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Use the hands. Bring yourself up to an easy cross-legged seat, coming into your meditation seat. Sitting up tall, bring the hands together in front of you, maintaining the lift of the chest. Bow the head, taking a moment to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a great rest of your week and day ahead. I'll see you next time.